When I walked into the courtroom that morning, I felt a knot twist in my stomach. My daughter Dawn barely glanced at me before rolling her eyes and whispering something to her husband, Dave. The gesture was so small that anyone else might have missed it, but I caught it immediately. It pierced me more deeply than any knife could. That was how my daughter treated me now, like I was nothing but a burden, an inconvenience she had to endure. I held my chin up, trying to appear composed. I didn't want her to see how much it hurt, but then something happened that froze everyone in that courtroom. The judge, a stern man with years of experience etched into the lines of his face, lifted his head and locked eyes with me. For a long, heavy moment, he didn't blink, and then, almost in a whisper, he said words that stunned the entire room. "It's her." The silence was immediate. Conversations died mid-sentence. Papers stopped rustling. Even Dave, who couldn't be bothered to look away from his phone most of the time, finally raised his head. No one had any idea who I really was until that very moment. That trial was about to change everything. Not only for me, but for Dawn, for Dave, and for the legacy my late husband had left behind. My name is Maeve. I am 69 years old. Until just a few months ago, I lived the kind of life no one really notices. I was a grandmother, invisible to most of the world, following the same simple routines day after day. Each morning I rose at 6, poured coffee into the same chipped mug I'd used for more than 2 decades, and watered the African violets my late husband loved so dearly. Those flowers were the last living reminder of him, and I clung to them as if keeping them alive meant keeping him with me a little longer. For 45 years, I dedicated my life to raising my daughter. I scrubbed office floors until my knees swelled, baked cupcakes to sell on weekends for extra income, and spent endless nights sewing clothes to earn a little more. I gave up sleep, health, and every personal dream I ever had so Dawn could have the opportunities I never knew. I thought that kind of sacrifice would mean something, that it would bind us forever. But I was wrong. When Dawn married Dave, a man whose arrogance filled the room before he even opened his mouth, I swallowed my pride. I told myself it didn't matter how little respect he showed me. Every Sunday I set my table, cooked a meal, and welcomed them into my home. I forced smiles even when his dismissiveness cut me, even when my daughter mirrored his coldness. After my husband died, I thought Dawn and I would grow closer. Shared grief, I believed, would strengthen our bond, but I was so naive. Instead, she began to see me as nothing more than an obstacle. Her visits became shorter, her voice colder. The daughter who once clung to me and whispered I was her hero now treated me like a stranger. The breaking point came on a gray Thursday in October. I had spent hours preparing chicken and dumplings, her childhood favorite. I set the table with my best hand-embroidered cloth and placed fresh flowers in the center. I wanted her to feel loved, to remember the warmth of home. But when they walked in, Dave slouched into my late husband's chair without so much as a hello, flicked on the television, and ignored me completely. Dawn sat down stiffly, her face expressionless. Then, with a tone that carried no trace of warmth, she said the words that shattered me. "Mom, this house is too big for you. You can't handle it anymore. And Dave and I need a bigger place as we start our family. We've found the perfect retirement community for you." It felt as though the walls themselves caved in around me. This was the house where she had taken her first steps, where every holiday had been celebrated, where her father had breathed his last breath in my arms. Every room held memories, every corner held love, and now she wanted me gone. I whispered through trembling lips, "Dawn, this is our home. It holds everything we've lived." She didn't even flinch. "Memories are in the heart, Mom, not in the walls." Dave smirked and added, "Don't worry, Mrs. Williams. We'll handle the paperwork." My world collapsed. The very child I had sacrificed my life for was pushing me aside like unwanted furniture. That night I sat in the kitchen staring at old photos. Her first steps, her graduation, her wedding. In every one of them, I was there, holding her close, smiling with pride. And now she was ready to erase me. Soon, real estate agents began marching through my home, appraising it coldly, calling it outdated. Dawn stood beside them, nodding in agreement. Brochures for retirement homes started showing up on my table, sterile places with bingo nights and bland hallways. And then came the ultimate betrayal. One afternoon they handed me papers, legal documents transferring ownership of my house to them. They weren't just pushing me aside, they were stealing the life my husband and I had built together. When I refused to sign, Dave's mask slipped. He threatened to declare me mentally unfit if I didn't comply. That night, I wept harder than I had since burying my husband. I felt old, useless, unwanted. For the first time, I thought maybe they were right. Maybe I had no fight left in me. But deep within, a spark remained. A whisper of dignity that refused to die. They wanted me erased, but I would not vanish quietly. By accident, I stumbled across a folder hidden in my husband's desk, marked with his initials. Inside was a secret that changed everything, a legacy he had built in silence. That discovery would turn the tide, giving me the strength to fight back. When the case reached court, my lawyer Victoria presented evidence that left the room breathless. Dave's texts filled with cruelty, recordings of him threatening Dawn, neighbors who testified about his shouting matches and abuse. Every detail painted the truth of who he really was. But then, the moment came when the judge paused and looked straight at me. His eyes widened. "Mrs. Maeve Williams?" "Yes, Your Honor," I replied, not understanding his sudden shift in tone. He leaned forward, removing his glasses. "Did you work at Family Court 30 years ago?" My heart stopped. "Yes, I was secretary to Judge Miller." His face softened. "I was an intern then. You helped me when no one else would. You encouraged me. You told me I could be great when I doubted myself." The courtroom froze. Dawn gaped at me. Dave turned pale. "I am Judge David Morales," he said. "Do you remember me?" The memory returned, an unsure young man, fumbling with files, grateful for every kind word. My eyes welled. "David, yes, of course I remember." He smiled faintly. "You once told me I'd be a great judge one day." "I never forgot," Dave's lawyer panicked. "Your Honor, this is a conflict of interest." "There is no conflict," Judge Morales declared. "There is only justice, and the evidence is clear. Mr. Foster has been the manipulator all along." The verdict was swift. Dave lost all rights. He was banned from approaching us and ordered to pay damages. As we left the courthouse, Dawn collapsed into my arms, sobbing. "Mom, how is it possible the judge knew you?" "Life moves in circles," I told her, "and kindness always finds its way back." Months later, when I held my granddaughter Serenity in my arms, I knew every painful moment had been worth it. Dawn slowly rediscovered herself, her laughter, her strength. One afternoon, as we rocked Serenity together, she asked me with tears in her eyes, "Mom, have you forgiven me?" I studied her face, the face of the daughter I once feared I had lost forever. "Yes, Dawn, I forgive you. But more importantly, you've forgiven yourself." Years passed. Serenity grew strong and full of life, running barefoot through the garden I had once feared I would lose. Dawn returned to school, built a career, and most importantly, found her joy again. One day, a letter arrived. The foundation I had started, using part of my inheritance to build safe havens for women abandoned by their families, was opening its third home. We had already helped dozens of women reclaim their lives. And then, as if fate wanted to remind me again of life's circles, Judge Morales and his wife appeared at my door. They invited me to be honored by the Retired Judges Association for my work. "You reminded us what justice really means," he told me, "the kind that restores dignity." That evening, as Serenity climbed into my lap, begging for her favorite story, the tale of the brave grandmother who fought a dragon with love and courage, I realized something. I had lost pride, money, even trust at one point. But in return, I had gained something so much greater. Purpose. Kindness, I learned, never vanishes. It waits, it lingers, and then it returns when you need it most. And as I kissed Serenity's forehead and whispered the ending she loved most, I finally believed it myself. Yes, my love. Happily ever after.